Hey everyone, I'm Ace of Clay and welcome to another sculpting video. If you're new here, I'm a sculptor and every week I make a new sculpture. Today I'm sculpting the Grinch, but creepier. This was a fun little project that I really enjoyed. I liked having a little bit of extra creative freedom with him and I think he turned out really cool. We make him out of Cosclay, we add some hair at the end, and I definitely think he is a creepier version of the Grinch that we all know and love. And then before we get started, be sure to check me out on TikTok, Instagram, Twitter, and Facebook at Ace of Clay. I'm gonna keep the intro short and sweet today. Let's get started. Alright, let's get started. I've got my wooden plaque here with 2 holes drilled into it for the wire that I'm going to use for his armature. Let's go ahead and shape out his legs and shoulders. And then I'm going to attach another piece of wire with some more wire to create his arms. Now I'm going to shape out his torso with some aluminum foil. This is heavy duty aluminum foil and I found that it gives a little bit more control than the regular stuff because it's just a little bit thicker. Once he's bulked out, it's time to cover him in clay. For this project I'm using Cosclay Sculpt in medium firm. And now I just want to cover all of the foil with a nice even layer of clay. Now I'm going to roll out a snake of clay and start working on his legs. If you're having trouble getting thinner pieces of clay to stick to wire, you can always brush on some Bake and Bond or oven cure adhesive to make sure the clay sticks. I think this is way easier than wire wrapping and just as effective in my opinion. And I always like to make the more mundane, boring parts of the sculpture first, like shaping out the body in this case, because I just love doing detail so much that I like saving that for last, because by the time I get to that point, I'm usually tired, but at least I'm still excited to add those details. So that's just kind of how I work. After bending the arms into their final position, I'm going to go ahead and add some Bake and Bond to the wire and start adding my clay. And I posed him to be holding up a little Christmas bauble in his one hand, and then his other one's just kind of hanging down at the side. Let's start working on those hands. I added a little piece of wire in there to support the bauble later on, and I will tuck it behind his finger to hide it once he's done. After finishing up the hands, I want to poke a hole for his neck armature, and then I'm going to stick this thick piece of wire in there after adding some Bake and Bond to make sure it's nice and secure, like so. And then we're going to start working on his head. Just want to ball up this piece of aluminum foil, get a sort of head shape that I like, and then we can start adding clay to it and working out all the facial features. I did not sketch out this guy before I made him. I'm just gonna wing it. Now I want to give him a big, smiling, open mouth with a bunch of really pointy, creepy teeth. So I'm just cutting out the mouth with this Excel blade. Use code ACEOFCLAY at excelblades.com to save 15% on your purchase. And then we're going to fill it in with some more clay. And I'm just working on the inside of his mouth, adding this little thin sheet to it, making sure all of that foil is covered. And then we got this creepy looking Muppet character going. Just trust the process. Now using my large ball stylus, I want to create some indents for his eyes and then refine them with a smaller ball stylus. Now using a thin snake of clay, we're going to add his bottom lip and then blend it in with my spoon tool. Now I'm going to go ahead and give him a little button nose. Just a little ball of clay there that I'm shaping out with my spoon tool and refining it with my cone rubber shaper. Now this is the part where I started being actually happy with how this was looking. You're just using that rubber shaper to add some more facial details and just gonna go from there. Give him some nice wide smile lines and wrinkles and make him look all creepy. To enhance those smile lines, I just wanna add some thin snakes of clay. Now let's go ahead and pop in his eyes, make sure they're firmly in place, and then finish detailing the mouth area. Now using my cone rubber shaper, I'm going to give him a little fur texture by swiping it onto the surface like this. Now let's give him some fun little curly eyebrows. And I want him to look creepy in a fun sense, if that makes sense. I'm not looking to make him macabre or anything like that. I just want him to be a creepy version of his cartoon self. And I think I achieved it. Let me know what you think in the comments. Now I'm just going in and adding his gums. And now using my tiny ball stylus, I'm going to create indents for each of his teeth. Almost done. I like it. Now I'm going to use some translucent Cosclay and roll out all of those teeth on my dirty little piece of glass. And then when I'm done, I'm going to pre-bake these so then when they're hard, I can just poke them into his mouth. And after baking them, I just wanted to shorten them a bit with my Excel blade. They're a little too long, but it's really hard for me to roll out really small teeth, so I just trim them down when they're baked. Now let's go ahead and use my tiny little tweezers and poke them all in. You can get these really nice tweezers at excelblades.com too. There we go, his head is complete. Now moving on, we're going to finish up the body, attach his head to it, and add a little fur texture, add some chest details, and get him all finished up. And we can't forget his belly button. And I just want to connect his feet. I just shaped these out into little cone shapes and pressed them into place. Blend all those in, get his heels attached, and make them nice and pointy like that. And to finish off the feet, let's add little ankle bones. Now let's cover this guy in a fur texture. And then I'm adding some bacon bond into the hole in his head to attach it so it's nice and secure. Like so. And then we're going to blend the neck in a little bit. I'm not too worried about the details on this area because it's going to be all covered in fur later. And then once he's baked and cooled down for the final time, it's time to paint him. I'm using war paints for this entire project and using this really skinny, long paintbrush to paint the dark red inside of his mouth. Had I planned ahead a little better, I would have just used some dark red clay inside there so I wouldn't have to worry about getting my paintbrush behind his teeth. But it's okay, it worked out. I left enough spaces between the teeth to fit a paintbrush in there. Now I'm going to mix up his nice Grinch green tone that we're going to cover him in completely. Once my green base coat is on and completely dry, I'm going to go in with a nice dark brown wash to bring out all of the details. This wash will sink into all of the crevices on the sculpture, making them more pronounced. Now once my wash is dry, I'm going to dry brush some lighter green on the surface to add some highlights and really bring out those details even more. Now let's go ahead and paint all of his pointy little teeth this nice off-white color. Now I want to go in and darken the eye sockets with a little bit of watered down black. And then paint his eyes yellow. His nice beady little eyes. And we can't forget his tiny little pupils. And I made this bauble for him out of some ultralight, and I'm just going to paint it red. And we'll glaze it later and make it super shiny. Now I'm going to attach it to that little wire that's sticking out with some Loctite super glue. And that thing ain't going nowhere. Looks pretty good. Now I'm going to paint the base, get all of the painting done so we can start adding his fur. Stick him on. Now for the fur, I'm using this yarn that I am breaking apart like so, and I'm going to attach it to him with some Fabri-Tac permanent fabric adhesive. This is the best glue that you can use to glue fabric or hair to your polymer clay sculptures. I just want to add his hair piece by piece. I'm not worried about the length of anything yet. I will trim it later. And to give him a little happy trail, for lack of a better term, I'm sprinkling on some grass from a model making kit that I have. Just dabbing it on with the Fabri-Tac. And then I want to add a couple wisps here and there, like to his elbows and the tips of his feet. I think this looked pretty cool. Now I'm going to take some brand new, really sharp scissors and go in and trim him up real nice. Give him a little haircut. And if you're going to do this, just make sure your scissors, like I said, are super sharp, or else you're going to be like pulling the hair left and right, and it's going to be a nightmare. So just go to the dollar store and get a new pair of scissors. And to finish him off, I'm going to glaze the bauble and his teeth and mouth with some Americana triple thick glossy varnish. In my opinion, this is the shiniest, best brush on acrylic varnish you are going to get next to resin. All right, now say it with me. And he's done! My creepier version of the Grinch is complete. Let me know what you think of him in the comments. This was such a fun little project, I'm not gonna lie. I really enjoyed this. I love how his mouth turned out. I love how he's creepier, but he's creepier in like a fun way. He's not macabre or gory or anything like that, but definitely a couple notches creepier than the cartoon one that we all like. So let me know what you think of him in the comments. And as always, thank you so much for watching and being here. Be sure to like, comment, and subscribe. Check me out on Facebook, Instagram, Twitter, and TikTok at Ace of Clay. And I will see you in the next video. Thanks for watching.